Here I come to wreck the day. Hey, yeah, you two, you're not on brew. Uncle, I mean.
Can you speak Bocce?
You know I can't, but you keep asking me that, don't you, in front of the camera? You're showing off, aren't you, in front of your mates? Oh, speaking of mates, this little guy is going to go live up Scotland. Yes, I'm afraid, dear, you are losing your buddy. Yeah, of course you can FaceTime him now and again. That'd be quite exciting, wouldn't it? Yeah, so it's all good, clean, healthy fun. And this blog is going to be about a panel. I just want a panel on the front of me man cave. But I really want it beaten up and I just want to push it that little bit further. Now, a good friend of mine, Phil Shashinskas. Let's check that with Bully. No, I think I got that wrong. Many years ago I invented this hairspray technique. Now that's the technique that I want to use because I've been given this piece of, I forget what it's actually off now, but a nice piece of wood. It's quite smooth. So I'm going to get some glue bit stuck on that and I want it really beaten up as usual because we do like beating things up in here, don't we? Yeah, so more importantly, the name of this channel, I'm going to let you decide. So, because I feel like in a way, YouTube doesn't get me as a whole, but I have got quality subscribers. So you're going to pick the name of this channel. But I'm afraid you've only got two options. You've got Rogue One, spelt with a W. I mean, obviously we've got to have Rogue in it, because I do go Rogue quite a few times. Or just plain Rogue 2. I'm afraid the answers I've got to reach me by no later than 10 o'clock this very morning. Where's the first post? Ah, and there's the last post. Pick out the first one. Rogue 2 it is, guys. But I mean, it's not that bad, is it? I mean, I know I took the wet out of 2 coming second, and you know, second is the fastest loser. But I do remember a nursery rhyme at school. First the worst, second the best. Third the lazy donkey. Thank you, guys. Rogue 2 it is. Brilliant. At least that's sorted. So I'm going to find a few little gleebly bits for this one. Perhaps not at the moment. What I'm going to do is, I know where Phil will be at the moment, so I'm just going to whiz down the unit. He hangs out down there with a few little potato heads. So let's go and find out how to do this technique properly. So I don't want to make a pig's ear of this. And obviously my first question for him, what were you doing with hairspray, you big g***? Here I come to wreck the day. Oh, I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same. What a waste of good shelf space. Before, we used to be able to put compressors on here and paints and, you know, tools, all the stuff that you need. Or a bit of potpourri. Well, no, he's got to put his men on here. Oh, here we have it, the main man. Here he is. That's even the tank, isn't it? You invented the actual technique on, isn't it? That's right, isn't that? Yeah, well, I'm going to build a nice Star Wars panel. I really want something a little bit different. So I've heard about this hairspray technique that you invented all them years ago. So, shoot.
So the hairspray technique, it's a pretty simple technique, but there is 3 or 4 distinct stages.
Oh, Phil, can we just stop you there? Can I concentrate? I think you got something stuck between your teeth.
Okay.
I did an actual blog, the proper way to eat pop. Don't matter. Carry on.
It's a pretty simple technique, but there is 3 or 4 distinct stages that you have to get right and just be mindful of what the paint is going to do. So there's a few sort of fail safes that you have to incorporate along the way. It's a little bit more long-winded, and I have seen people skip out certain steps, and invariably it kind of messes up. So if you just listen and do exactly the steps that I say, I pretty much guarantee it will work perfectly. I guess the most important one, the one that most people leave out, is the barrier coat. So they'll do a base coat, then they'll put some hairspray on, then they'll put a top coat on, then they'll try and remove it, and bits will come off and bits won't, and they'll start to damage the model, and it'll wear through to the... Are you listening or what?
Yeah. Klaatu, Veratu, Nectar. I know the damn words, alright.
I don't know why I bother.
Kids, here we go again. This is what I want to make me panel out of. I was obviously, I've got to add some things, some gleebly bits. Oh, cooker rings, man. Awesome. But anyway, I thought, I want to get this right, so I thought I'll have a practice, because you can literally practice on anything. Well, I suppose nearly anything. I wouldn't try it on a cat, because they just want to keep still, do they? But this has got a nice smooth surface, and because you're relying on, I wouldn't say a reaction, but you're relying on something, let's have a practice on that. Ooh, Aladdin's cave. Oh. I think Phyllis did say something about a barrier coat. It can't be important, can it? I could use my cheap stuff. Just stick it through my hairbrush.
Just listen. It's important to pick the right one. It won't work.
Alright, so got to use my expensive stuff.
And do exactly the steps that I say. You've got a base layer, barrier, top coat.
Alright then. Good kill. Apparently the best paints to use for this technique are the Tamiya ones. Now, I've painted that black just to enhance what is actually going to go on. And lacquered it with my expensive stuff. Basically, I picked a nice light colour. It would have worked out perhaps nicer if I'd done this of dark brown or oranges or rust colours, but I've just done it black, and I've picked a nice light colour. Now the important thing is, airbrush this on, but if you've got to water it down, only water it down with water, so it's not as aggressive. Come on out, Winston. Come on out. Good thing about this is if you think, oh, it's not my best effort, if you lack of that, you can just do it again with another colour, or do it again with rust colours. Or even if you think, I want a weird pale blue, you could go over this with a blue. All you've got to do now is to lacquer this so that stays there, then put some more hair lacquer on, and then just go again and have some fun. Now what I've done is I've glossed up to protect this now, so nothing will happen to that. I have had better results with this technique. All I do, what I suggest, practice, practice, practice. So this is actually very glossy. If I matte varnished this and made it a bit rougher, you would get a rougher effect when you take off the paint. What I'm thinking of doing now is to just put some browns and stuff on, so that will look like rust before I do the main colour. If you're a bit impatient like me and you can't find the hairdryer, I'd recommend an hairdryer, but I actually can't find that now. Woo! Give you quite a nice, unique, rough, ununiform scrapes. Yeah. Everything so far has been a bit of a practice really. I haven't used this technique for ages. I have used it on a tank I did years ago on a smaller scale. But basically the first colour that I put on, I only picked that because I was demonstrating and I wanted some undertones. But what I did was I didn't let it dry properly. I was just rushing once and my pot noodle was nearly done. That's why it come off so easy. Like with this, it is just all practice. So now I've got some nice undertones and I'm going to pick a colour that I'm actually going to do this in. I just wanted a load of little roughness. So now I've lacquered it to protect that. I'm going to put some hairspray on. You can put 2 or 3 layers on. Some people put up to 4 layers on. But I find if you put a lot on, if you want that nice cracking effect, because sometimes the hairspray does react with paints. So if you bung it on really thick and then bang a load of colour on, it makes the colour crack if you want that look. But I don't, so I'm not. So I'm just going to dust about 1, maybe 2 coats on, and then I'm going to put the colour on with an airbrush, with the paint diluted with water to keep it weak. Put that on and then wait for it dry. And then and hopefully my pot noodle will be done by then, so yummy yummy. Just kept going until, you know, I thought, yeah, that's a nice mess. But there is some sort of unique, sort of rustic patterns that have turned up, I suppose because of all the layers I've done underneath. What I'm actually going to do now is just do it again, but I'm going to lighten the first colour that I put on, and then just do it again and just keep going until you think, yeah, my panel is done, is finished. So yeah, I'm going to lacquer this, let that dry, hairspray on, lighten the colour, I think it's Tamiya dark yellow, and then just do some little bits on it again. So I don't know how close I can get with this camera before it starts going blur, but yeah, you can see the undertones just coming through. There's some very ununiform sort of scrapes, which I think are quite unique to this method. On this pass, I'm actually just put some white in my gun just to get some different contrasts. So I'll be taking most of it off, see, on there when I get some water on it. Now it's all nicely glossed and hopefully protected. I've just got my usual wash of brown solution with terps, and I'm just going to diffuse it. Blah 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 blah. This sort of thing amuses me. Where's my rag? I got it, Dave. Should help marry everything together. Let's get some light on the subject. It's a bit glossy at the moment, but once I mat it down, hopefully I'll be able to get a better shot of it. Ooh, bright light. Thank you for holding on to that, Uncle Chloe. And there we have it, a nice beaten up box. As you see, it is quite unique. It's one of those methods that you'll never get it with a brush or painting or trying to get all that. And even there's a lot of fine stuff that you want to get with a sponge. So I did enjoy doing that. Then once you've mastered the technique, I've had a play with a clone trooper helmet as well. Just try to get that sort of summit like. Catch it, D. Butterfeet. And yeah, I suppose you'll notice that Deer's up the corner on his own, because his cousin Jeff, he has gone to live up Scotland. He's gone to live with Colin and his lovely family. So I'm sure it'll be fine, Dee. I'm sorry there's a big space between me blogs, but as well as doing that, I have finished all that corner. Well, it's not totally finished. I still want to do the flooring, and I thought it needed a bit of light. So firstly, I put a skylight in, which is a big job in this place, and I ended up doing it on the hottest day of the year. So at least we're getting there. And now I've shown you this technique, I hope you go away and practice, because I'm going to be using this for a lot of stuff. The rusty droid that I'm building, I'm going to be doing a lot of panels like that, so that'll be pretty cool. And then once I start getting segments of this place finished, I can really start tidying it up. I won't do those panels again, definitely. And the cobwebs that are coming here, honestly, Aunt Brew, you need to sort of book your ideas up, because they're just getting everywhere. Too far, D, too far. Honestly, D, that's way too far. No, Aunt Brew didn't hear you, but Jesus did. Sorry about that. And no, I don't want a pint. So we're getting there now, aren't we? And at least we settle on a name for this channel. So now I can sort of get that out of my head and keep pushing forward, with a few little odds and sods. And so now it'll be over to Sketchy Guy Nevada to do me a nice little drawing, which he always comes up trumps. What? No, don't just Google sketchy guy. It's got to be sketchy guy, Nevada, because you don't know what you're going to get, do you? What, Nevada? I don't know if Nevada's got 2 moons or not. You're just showing off, aren't you? And I don't want a pint. No, I'll be more. No, honestly. I need to stop it. So, yeah. Keep smashing and bashing. Then, aren't we? And if you have learned something from this channel, obviously give us a... And if you haven't, just give us a... I mean, people often said to me, do you script your blogs and what have you? I would do if I could spell. But anyway, at least we settled on a name for this channel. And I don't want a pint. Need to get some work done. Yeah, it is a bit early actually. And as always, guys, be nice to each other. Ta-ra. No, sorry, let's have a pint.